What's a bear say? I don't know why I did that. Hey legends, what's up? It's Darkmech here and welcome back to another video. Today, I want to share with you my first thoughts and impressions on the Guardian Druid after playing some dungeon content in the latest Dragonflight Alpha build. So to start with, Guardian Druid immediately feels like it's in a better position than its current playstyle in Shadowlands, so tick to that one. The breakaway from the row type talent system to the revamped talent tree point system is a very welcome change. This gives Guardian Druids the ability to pick up spells that we've never had access to before, like Innovate and Nature's Vigil, and it means that we can bring a whole lot more utility to our group than we previously have been able to. There are a number of old abilities that have come from the Guardian lines that are once again available to play with, and some brand new talents as well. The class and spec now feels like a huge throwback to so many of the good sections of Guardian Druid that we've seen throughout previous expansions. The big main one though is the Galactic Laser Space Bear from Legion. The class feels stronger and not so heavily set around this 3-minute window that we have been so set in stone around in Shadowlands playstyle, especially with Venthyr and Incarn, so this is a very welcome change. So talking about the Druid tree to start with, there are a number of choices that you can make in navigating through the Druid tree. Now, I do think the left side of the tree will kind of virtually see no real play for the majority of players or situations on a Guardian Druid, unless cat weaving becomes this real dominant interaction in raiding again, or even then, that could still be a stretch. But in saying that, this is the Druid tree. It's not the Guardian Druid tree, it's the Druid tree. It's supposed to have the ability to cater across all specs within the Druid class, so this isn't really maybe an issue. The middle and right side forks offer up great impactful talents and some degrees of choices. Things like Skull Bash, Renewal, Typhoon, Wild Charge and Improved Sunfire are all options that you can incorporate into your build. One thing I really like is the extra room on utility the Guardian can offer now, all around these choices I've just listed, but also if you're in certain situations or encounter bottlenecks where you need more healing throughput or output, you can spec down the restoration tree and pick up rejuvenation and swift mend to help out there, just adding more options and variations to build quality. All in all, I think the Druid tree is a pretty solid, diverse option tree, and I think Blizzard have done a pretty good job on it. Moving over to the Guardian tree, this has had some pretty significant changes since its first inception, and although the first version gave way to possibly a slightly stronger build option, the revamped version is still an excellent tree. The old tree had this cool structured road from Scintillating Moonlight all the way down to Elun's Favored, which has now been fractured throughout the new tree. Circle of Life and Death was originally a 1-point node, and now it's a 2-point node. There's no real difference between rank 1 and rank 2, it's just a point sync to get through to Convoke and Incarnation, and this stopped Guardian from being able to pick up Ursoc's Fury, Incarnation and Rage of the Sleeper. Vicious Cycle and Vulnerable Flesh had their sides of the tree exchanged. Survival of the Fittest had its node placement changed to the head of the last capstone fork on the right side, replacing where Guardian of Elun was, and I much prefer this positioning as Guardian of Elun has generally been a pretty lackluster talent in its existence for Guardian, and having to go through that to access Rage of the Sleeper wasn't the best option. So looking at the talents on offer throughout the Guardian Druid tree, Rage of the Sleeper was a colossal ability in Legion, and seeing its return on the talent tree is Poggy Woggy. 25% DR, reflect for 10 seconds, immune to CC, huge ability to have in the toolkit, and it's also on a 1.5 minute cooldown, which means that you can do lots with this in dungeon styled scenarios, which is way better than that current playstyle we mentioned at the start around these 3-minute Incarn windows. Berserk has been fragmented into 3 different variations within the tree. You've got Ravage, Persistence and Unchecked Aggression now, and they all give variations to what they do to tie into more build structures and offering something different. Talents like Scintillating Moonlight, Galactic Guardian, Elun's Favor, Twin Moonfire, Circle of Life and Death and Fury of Nature all give way to the fantastic return of the Laser Beam Bear spec or Disco Bear from Legion. You do have other options if you don't want to go down this way, and thrash-based builds with positive outlook, Earthwarden, Rend and Tear, Incarnation, and Blood Frenzy, all existing on the tree as well, and it's obviously going to come down to tuning as to what builds are made viable from all this. Convoke is in the tree, though I do wonder how this will go as a standalone talent now. The Conduit Conflux of Elements gave a lot of potency to Convoke in Shadowlands by buffing the damage by 30%, and we're now without that, so that will be really interesting. Incarnation is also present on the choice node with Convoke, and again, this will be interesting to see how this manages to fit into things, be it raid or dungeon. If there's a survival or large scale AoE aspect that calls for it, what points will you give up to be able to chain Incarnation? I put a build on the screen here that could possibly work out with that. You do forego Ursoc's Fury, but this build I think would still work to a fairly high standard, pending if the need called for Incarnation, and it also just depends on tuning as we continue to head through Alpha and Beta. Lastly, Maul has generally been a bit of a meme, let's be honest. It's an offensive rage dump, but it's never been particularly strong. It's great to see a number of talents starting to boost the functionality and power of Maul in the coming Dragonflight interaction of Guardian Druid. Tooth and Claw gives you a 20% chance to empower your next Maul, which deals 40% increased damage and reduces the damage you take from that target by 15% for 6 seconds. Ursoc's Fury also now includes Maul as well as Thrash in granting an absorb shield for 75% of damage dealt. Berserk Unchecked Aggression also reduces the rage cost of Maul by 50%. So all in all, these are fantastic changes coming to Guardian Druid gameplay in Dragonflight. Initial thoughts around a build I think would look something like this, and this is all obviously subject to change, but you can see the Guardian tree shown on your screen at the moment. A build like this means that you would gain all the bonus damage reduction and healing bonuses from Moonfire. Tooth and Claw, Vulnerable Flesh, Unchecked Aggression make Maul a more useful ability in the rotation. Rage of the Sleeper gives you another cooldown to weave in through your Berserks, and you maintain the benefit of Ursoc's Fury. And then you have 1 point left over, and then you can decide if you wanted an extra charge of Survival Instincts, an extra charge of Frenzied Regen. You could take another capstone trait in Rend and Tear. So there are a few options that sort of go along, and I'll be really interested to see where Theory Crafting lands a lot of these builds. At the moment, I think there are options for a multitude of different builds to work in varying degrees and forms of content, which is exactly what we want from a talent system designed around choice. The Laser Beam Bear build I think is hands down going to be the gravity pathway. There is just so much in the tree that works you towards this. There are so many talent nodes that synergize into that build. It's hard to see it as not a prime choice. The best part though is the Guardian feels like it's in a very strong position early on. It's fun to play, it's more interactive than it is in Shadowlands, it's far less restricted than it was in Shadowlands, it has the ability to bring a lot more to a group than it did in Shadowlands. These are all good things, and I like that a lot of builds, when you take your core functions, you end up with 1 to 2, 3, 4 points left over where you can start to think about other options on the tree that will help for the style of content that you are doing. So a really solid start for the Guardian Druid here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Talents that you like, builds that you're thinking about, what changes you might like to see. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam. Hey, I did it. Wanker.